An alumni game tonight.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Morning Chat. Today, we get the opportunity to talk to John I. Leonard, manager Casey Beck. Casey, welcome in.
Thanks for having me so much, Anthony. It means a lot.
All right, so let's get started. We did one of these Sunday Morning Chats years ago when you were over at Olympic Heights, and let's start with something basic, with like how much your coaching style has changed from back then to now.
Well, that has now been 10 years ago, and hopefully I have matured a little bit since then. I still got the fire in my belly like I did when I first came in at Olympic Heights, because it was kind of the same situation, only a little different. I was taking over a program that hadn't had a lot of success, I guess, in years. I just moved here from South Carolina, and it took us a little bit, but we were able to turn the program around somewhat over there, at least get us respectable. And it just I saw an opportunity to go to John I. Leonard, which was a place where I saw there was a lot of talent. I thought that just either was getting missed or I don't know what the thing was, but I wanted to find out, and I was lucky enough to apply for the job and grab it, and it's actually reignited my passion for coaching and the love of baseball again. Watching these kids that have never had travel ball, have never had personal lessons, learning to put the glove on the right hand. We're starting from the basics my first year here, and it's been fantastic to see them grow. Now in my third year, we're starting to turn the tide.
So talk about that a little bit. You've always prided yourself on kind of taking some of these programs that have not been traditional powerhouses, but more developmental programs, and making them respected in baseball. So what draw a lot of coaches, they go for the state titles, they go for the recognition. What is it that draws you specifically to the challenge of what you already talked about, like building a program from scratch and teaching high school kids that, really have just started playing the game?
That's a great question, Anthony. Thank you for asking that. To be honest with you, it's just I the way that I grew up, I guess I saw, I grew up very poor with not a lot. Back then, if you didn't have a lot of money, you played American Legion ball if you were worth, a grain of salt, which I was lucky enough to do. But I see there's so many kids in the area that live right next to each other that have so many different things. And it's fun for me to actually teach. I am a teacher. So to go back and a lot of these kids don't have moms, dads, stable families, or even had the time to learn. So, when I see kids that are missing out and other kids are doing the same things, I'm all about trying to provide and really try to just build them up so they can compete and enjoy this great game. I've won state championships back home coaching football and playing football, and been around contenders in baseball. And at my point in my life now, it means the world to me to see a kid be able to have a chance to get out of the situation they're in, especially through baseball.
So there's when you have teams that are expected to win every year, and the state championship level teams, there's certain pressures that come along with that. But with teams trying to build a program, or just trying to get a program to survive, there's also challenges related to that. So what are the biggest challenges that you face in trying to balance those two ideas?
Great question. Another one, because I've been on both sides of the field. I think that the guys that are perennial state champions year in and year out, the pressure those coaches must feel is it's either an ego thing or an admin thing, honestly. If you've got a bunch of D1 guys, I don't know how hard that is to coach. Maybe it is, I don't know. But the challenges that I see that I've had with the other half is, sometimes maybe the facilities are not as nice, and we have to raise money and spend money on things that goes towards actually playing the game instead of buying nicer things or pitching machines or other items that would be nice to have to help improve. So there's definitely challenges to keep kids here. And it was a challenge at Olympic Heights. Every summer, every fall, there's opportunities for them to get wooed and go somewhere else. And Palm Beach County, at least, has turned into the Wild West with kids just picking up and leaving and going wherever they want. It's kind of wild to me. So the major challenge I've had, at least here at John I. Leonard, is to try to keep my quote unquote talented players here and have them believe if you build it, they will come. Just be the big dog here and let's start something fresh. All these programs had to start from somewhere. Why not us? So that's probably my biggest challenge I've had.
And that was going to be my follow-up. You kind of answered it somewhat. With with the movement the way it is now, I mean, that just makes your job almost impossible when you're building because as soon as you get a player or two, or you develop a young player, by the time they're juniors and you've developed them to a point where they've reached their potential, all of a sudden everybody comes trying to poach them. So how hard is that, especially for you to communicate with those players that while they may have developed, how hard is it for them to stay in a program where now maybe they're not playing with the same level of player that they could be playing with? Where's the challenge in that?
So the challenge for me would to tell those kids, these same kids that you play with, other than your home school kids, why, they're going to all these other schools. Why wouldn't you want them to play with you? I don't go out and recruit. I don't coach summer ball. I don't do any of that anymore. I helped Coach Franco out with the summer league a couple years, but other than that, I just want to develop, and I'm not out there. I want to take what comes to me, and trying to see a piece here, a piece there. Success is be truly successful. I believe is not going to be an overnight thing. It takes time to build. They have to learn systems. It can't just be a year by year flash in the pants. And it's hard for me when I see adults really, really talk bad about other adults just to get a teenage kid to come play baseball for them. Like, to me, it's not about a state championship. It's for them to come back to their school and, yeah, we won a district championship. We had a great year in 2024, and we're having our alumni game tonight. So I'm all about family, and this is the long run, man. So that's really what I'm trying to do, and convince these kids, look, you can go elsewhere and be the number 2, be the number 3, wait till your senior year and play, or you could play where you were supposed to play, where you grew up at, take pride in that, and let's start building it again. And I think this year I've had a few that are starting to really buy into that, and I think it's only going to get better, Anthony. Honestly, at least I hope so.
So you talked a little bit about coaches talking bad about other coaches, and kind of the rat race that is the transfer. I guess we can call it a portal at this point. But are there coaches out there? Give me some of the coaches out there that you look up to, coaches that do it the right way, that you say, that's kind of what I'm modeling my program after.
Well, there's one in particular that's no longer coaching with us. Bill Harvey was like a mentor to me since day one. I looked to him. We would talk after games, a lot of good advice, calming me down, let me know how certain crowds are going to be and how to react. And he has been night and day, just unbelievable for me. And the second guy probably would be Nick Franco, Nick and Joe, probably two of my best friends down here. I mean, hell, Nick signed off on my will and testament so I could get married to my wife. So he took off work just so he could do it. So he does everything the right way. We all kind of think the same way. Joe and Nick are totally different, but when it comes to our mindsets, we want what's best for kids. We really don't care who we get. We're going to go out there, do the best we can do. We're not going to complain and cry. I would probably do the most of that out of all of us, but those three guys are probably and Russ Milliken over at Forest Hill. He's another guy. When my daddy died, actually on March 3rd, they took a team pic and sent it to me and said they were praying for me. So like stuff like that, get goosebumps. Really some good guys out there, and I'm really appreciative of all of them.
So you're also a lot about balance. What do you do off the field that you give as much value to as baseball on the field?
Oh, great question, Anthony. Probably just trying to be a good person. I'm super soft inside. I teach I&D kids. I'm the guy that gives $200 to the homeless guy at the stoplight. Just I'm passionate and just trying to do right. And I guess like trying to save the world. I love pro wrestling, man. I do. I go to as many conventions as I can go. I got a side job working with JSA, so I get to meet all kinds of fun people, and so I'm very passionate about that. So that's probably it in my family at home. So
So, if there could be a fundamental change to high school baseball this year or in the future, we've kind of beat the drum with the transfer stuff. But if it wasn't the transfer stuff, what else would you change about the game, and what fundamental change would you make?
the first fundamental change, and this is not me being socialism or communist, it's just there's got to be some way. When I moved here, it's a lot different than South Carolina and in Virginia. There's got to be some kind of allocation to high school sports or somehow, some way we have to have some kind of startup. So there's a little more even playing field, at least among baseball, between trying to fight to get fields to practice on because certain travel teams have grips on them. There needs to be some kind of common sense made in the FHSAA, I think, where we come down and we help these teams that need things. We can't afford a $120 box of baseballs that the FHSAA says we have to throw, the Wilson A1010s. We shouldn't have to feel like we have to have those, or Wilson should provide them to us. I don't know. But I think that's to make it more of an even playing field instead of such a high, difference between the top and bottoms. And then lastly, honestly, there should be some kind of checks and balances with umpires. I mean, I get told all the time we should be lucky we have them. Well, what if coaches just became umpires and we coach each other's games? It's just something. I'm not picking on them at all, but there's got to be some kind of, just like I get checked and balanced as a head coach. I have to watch my mouth, do things the right way, or they'll get rid of me, rightfully so. So I just think a little more because, especially people that work in the school system, you're affecting not only our kids and our job out here on the baseball field, but you're really affecting our jobs in the school. Especially if you just had a bad day, just talk to us. That's all. I think something like that would be a huge change.
So on the flip side, because everybody always talks, in all these conversations,
There goes all my
everybody.
calls this year, Anthony. So I still love you.
I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself here. So on the flip side, everybody always talks about all the negatives and the negatives and the negatives of baseball, but it's still a great game, the high school game. So what do you think still remains great about high school baseball in 2024?
The smile from ear to ear, and little Johnny gets his first little hit, like we just had at a JV game at Olympic Heights. They're going nuts, and they still act like kids for at least 10 minutes. You can still see they're 13, 14, 15-year-old kids. They've left their phones alone for 2 hours. It is cool to just see kids being kids again, and that's why I keep doing this. I love it. And to see success stories like a Nick Ham, who's in Myrtle Beach right now playing for my guy for a GAP program, just trying to live the dream. So little boys from Green Acres now in Myrtle Beach, I love seeing that kind of stuff, and it keeps me coming back. Just the smiles on their faces.
Awesome. So we're going to lighten it up a little bit and get to know the real Coach Beck through some of these fun little questions. I'm going to give you some either or questions. You give me your answers.
Yes,
we're going to start off with seafood or steak?
Seafood.
Seafood. A perfectly executed squeeze play to win a game or a diving catch to save a game?
Perfectly executed squeeze play. Absolutely.
You're the second offensive coach I've gotten today in these talks. I'm waiting for somebody today to say the diving catch.
I just saw one that beat us the other night at Joaquin, so I haven't seen enough of those.
Favorite genre of music?
Ooh, I like it all, but probably would be 90s grunge music.
I expect I know the answer to this one, but pregame, BP or IO?
Oh, IO.
All right. So there's the fielding coming out in you.
Nothing better than a crisp IO. I love watching Nick Franco take his IO.
Movies, a good comedy or a good horror?
Good horror. Absolutely.
And the favorite thing that you do, you mentioned before the wrestling, but favorite thing you do that doesn't involve baseball?
Favorite thing I do that doesn't involve baseball, probably going out and playing golf, uh, having a few, Coca-Colas in the garage, just relaxing.
All right, last question. If you ultimately could control your own destiny and had one wish that would be granted no matter what would it be in relation to coaching?
Hmm. Yeah, great question. If I had one wish, my wish would be that I could live a healthy and happy life to at least 100 years old, and my last day on earth would be coaching on a baseball field. Let me drop dead, come spread my ashes wherever, but I would love to drop dead on a baseball field. I got married on one, might as well die on one.
All right. Well, hopefully that won't happen for a lot of years.
Yeah, yes.
But well, it was great. It's been great getting to know you. You become a friend, obviously, to me, and you've been great for HSBN through the years. Your programs have always been supportive of everything we do, and I wish you a lot of luck the rest of the year.
Ditto, Anthony. You've always taken care of me and my boys wherever I've been, and it means the world to me, man, sincerely. That article last year meant a lot, so thank you very much, Anthony.
All right, you got it. Have a good one, Coach.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right.